Five. Okay, the time is 5 o'clock, and I'll call this special town board meeting to order and ask you to join Councilman Depot in the pledge of the flag, please.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Arch. Will you read the announcement of the special board meeting?
If I had it.
There you go. Oh, that's not it. I
Okay.
have one.
Please take notice that the town board of the town of Jay, Essex County, New York, will hold and conduct a special meeting of the town board of the town of Jay to be held at the town of Jay Judges Chamber, 11 School Lane, Osceola Forks, New York, at 5 p.m. on the 4th day of September 2013 for the following purposes: to appoint code enforcement officer position, to discuss town justice special election, and any and all other business that might come before the town board. All interested persons are invited to attend. Features like copy, town of Jay Temple.
Thank you, Bea. Before we get started tonight, I want to thank all of you, the town board, Bea, Dan, and my office staff, especially, who worked many, many hours the last 2 days to pull off the surprise visit from the governor to bring $7.5 million to the town of Jay and Keene today. It was a wonderful, wonderful event. Packed house. He brought $1.5 million for the Upper Jay Fire Department, $3 million for the town of Jay, $3 million for the town of Keene. It's a competition. We put a wonderful committee together to serve as the construction recovery zone from the floods for future possible, preparing for future possible disasters. Scott McDonald is the chairperson for the town of Jay. Penny McClellan is the chairperson for the town of Keene. We have a wonderful committee put together who are very dedicated. Mr. Gerald Bro, Ms. Jody Hart, Mr. Chad Garcia, Mr. Eric Carey, and again, Scott McDonald. Wonderful group. Shared ideas after the announcement with the governor in the gym today at the firehouse. We had like a 4.5-hour meeting. But these events aren't easy to pull off. We worked very, very late last night with security details, going from one end of this building to the next, and from the fire department to the ambulance squad, and entrances in and entrances out. But it was very, very well organized, and I can't say enough about all of you and all of our office staff and the DPW department worked to pull this off, and the governor was very, very impressed. When he first got in, this was the holding room for him when they brought him in, and he was very impressed with everything he saw here in the town of Jay. And to make the announcement for the Upper Jay Fire Department of $1.5 million means they will build a new firehouse. They have a pre-construction meeting tomorrow. It was a lot of work and a lot of collaboration amongst a lot of people from the town, the county, and the state, and the federal government to make this happen. And the governor hasn't let us down. And I said earlier today, he hasn't played politics. He's been here numerous times. As we move forward with the property acquisition program, which we're going to be holding a public information meeting and within the next 2 weeks, that's where we're at with the property acquisitions. Dan and Mike Mascarinas have been working diligently on that. It's just been amazing the things. The governor adding the other 25% property acquisition, the other 25% to all the FEMA projects, the 52 project worksheets we had. As I said before, many, many times, we were $3 million in debt. We're down to recouping less than $100,000 at this point. That doesn't even, so right now we're ahead of the game because the extra $3 million that is brought forward today to prevent future disasters. I can't say enough, and it was a very, very proud day for the town of Jay, but I will tell you all that there's no way that we could do this without all of you sitting at this table and of the wonderful staff that we have. We have dedicated employees, so thank you.
I'd like to interrupt you.
Yep, go ahead, Jerry.
I'd like to congratulate you on the way you chaired that meeting today. It was very, very well run. You did a super job, and I know because of your pressure is what Upper J got that 1.5 million. I've heard that from a lot of directors.
Thank you.
You did a fantastic job. Continue.
Thank you.
I'd like to say we're very proud of you and everything that you've done.
Thank you. It's a team effort. We've done so much together, and I'm very proud of
It
that.
shows a great team effort, a lot of people involved in this, and thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so moving right along here, discuss code enforcement officer position. I believe that Archie's gonna call for an executive session, so let's go through the rest of the stuff and then come back to that, if you guys are fine with that.
I'm good with it.
We'll go to the judge's position, discuss the special election. Dan has been working today, the last few days with the Board of Elections and Association of Towns, and he's put a bunch of materials together for us. So Dan, do you want to speak about it, and then we can ask questions if anybody has them? But
Sure. As you know, on July 11th, this board passed a resolution to reduce the number of town justices from the existing 2 justices to...
Dan, I'm sorry. Could you close that door for me or for you? I'm getting...
well, they have a senior event tonight. And,
Yeah, they're having their dinner.
yeah, dinner.
They're like that.
As I was saying, you passed a resolution on July 11th, reducing the number of justices from 2 to 1, which resolution was subject to permissive referendum on, I believe, August 9th and August 12th. Petitions were submitted to the town requesting that, with the necessary signatures, requesting that the resolution be placed on the ballot for consideration by the qualified voters of the town of Jay. The petitions were proper for the most part. There were sufficient names. Therefore, your options are to either put it to special election or to put it on the ballot in November. In order to put it in the ballot on November, you would have to rescind your resolution and have a new resolution saying that you would put it on the ballot. However, it's my understanding that you're not going to do that, and therefore the only other alternative is to have a special election. The special election has to take place no earlier than 60 days. No earlier than 60 days from the date of the filing of the petitions. They were filed on the 9th and 12th, and no later than 75 days from the filing of the petitions. Therefore, you have a window of approximately 5 or 6 days, because you have staggered days when the petitions were filed, 2 days. Basically, the week of October 14th is probably the prime time to have the special election. In the paperwork that you have before you, it does say October 16th, which I believe is a Wednesday, which is within that time period. However, if you want to have it on the 14th, 15th, 17th, or 18th, you certainly can do that. But the 16th would probably be the best day. The law requires once the requisite number of signatures are submitted and been examined and approved, that the town clerk, with the assistance of the town attorney, prepare a ballot proposition and a ballot abstract. The ballot proposition is the first document that you have before you, which we have prepared. Basically, the meat of it is the last paragraph, which is what will go on the ballot when someone gets their paper ballot. This will be what they vote on. And it says, resolution pursuant to Town of J 68, reducing the number, well, excuse me, shall the Town of J resolution dated July 11, 2013, entitled, resolution pursuant to Town Law 60A, reducing the number of town justices in the Town of J from 2 to 1 at the end of December 31st, 2013, by eliminating the justice position currently held by Honorable Justice Monroe, whose term expires on December 31st, 2013, be approved. So they're voting on whether the resolution which you passed earlier should be approved, and that resolution reduce the number of justices. Behind that, you see a ballot abstract, which is basically restates the resolution, the ballot proposition, excuse me, plus states what would happen in the event of a yes vote, in the event of a no vote, and clarifies what's happening. If there is a no vote on the resolution, then the status quo continues and you have two justices. The justice position, which is up at the end of this year, will be on the ballot at the biennial election in November. A yes vote would eliminate the position, and therefore at the biennial election no one would run for that position. And that is the ballot abstract and the ballot proposition. The third item, which can be changed any way you want, is a resolution which you would pass tonight, setting the October 16th date, naming the polling places, stating the date and times within which the election can be held. The election can be held, has to be within the hours of 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. on the date. Anywhere within that time period, you have to have 6 consecutive hours or more. The resolution propounded this evening, which again, if you want to change it and tinker with it, we can, simply states, resolution accepting and adopting the ballot abstract and ballot proposition prepared by the town clerk. So you're accepting that ballot proposition and that ballot abstract for use, and to be submitted, and that will be submitted to the Board of Elections. Prepared by the town clerk, incident to the special election to be held on October 16, 2013, or at such other time as may be determined, submitting town resolution dated July 11, 2013, entitled Resolution pursuant to Town Law 68, reducing the number of town justices in the town of Jay from 2 to 1, effective at the end of December 2013, and establishing the particulars of said special election. The preamble simply states what I just already stated, the whereas about when the resolution was originally passed. The second preamble states what is to happen. The third preamble states that on August 9th and 12th, Mr. Balzac submitted the requisite number of signatures required for a permissive referendum. The third preamble states that the town clerk, with my assistant, prepared the ballot proposition, the abstract, and notice of special meeting. And now therefore states that it be resolved that the town board of the town of Jay hereby accepts, adopts, and approves the ballot proposition and ballot abstract attached hereto as Schedules A and B, and hereby directs that the notice of special election be published pursuant to law. Attached to this is a notice of special election that needs to go into the paper, which basically states the proposition, the time of the election, the place of the election, and where all the voters in both election districts 1 and 2 will vote. It goes on to say, be it further resolved that this town board hereby directs that the special election on said proposition be held on October 16, 2013, at the town of Jay offices located at 11 School Lane, Alsatian Forks, Essex County, New York, for election district number 2, and at the Amos and Julia Ward Theater, Parkside Drive, Jay, New York, for election district number 1, between the hours of 10 a.m. and 6 p.m. for the purposes of voting on said proposition. It further goes on to say that be it further resolved that this town board further directs the town clerk, town attorney, and supervisor of the town of Jay to do and conduct any and all necessary requirements needed to conduct said special election. So that's the resolution that you'll be voting on tonight. You're approving the ballot abstract, you're approving the ballot proposition, you're approving the election on the 16th between the hours of 10 and 6, and at the various polling places. And you're approving that any and all the additional work that needs to be conducted for a special election to be done. Just so you know, the notice of special election will be posted in the newspaper. If you pass the resolution, it will also be posted on the town signboard, which we'll do tonight. Also, both will be sent to the Board of Elections so that they can get started. You have the option for personal registration, which would allow, you have to send out certain notices. People will come in and register to vote at this election. The alternative is that the qualified voters that now exist, or exist 23 days before the election, will be able to vote. That's generally what's done, but if you wanted to have a registration, you have that option. You need to designate election inspectors and ballot clerks to handle the election, and they're generally have to be the ones that handle the general election, which we've had. So the names of which we'll get from the Board of Elections, and that'll all be held by the Board of Elections. You can have paper ballots, you can vote by machine, you can vote any way that the election law allows. In this instance, I would suggest paper ballots because this is going to get expensive, and to have the machines come here, you have to pay for transportation. There's more expenses associated with the machines. We'll get a list of all the qualified voters from the Board of Elections so that everyone knows what happens, and then the process is just as the process generally is at a regular election. Absentee ballots aren't required in a special election unless you do personal registration. In some instances absentees are, but they're not. I'll have to get clarification on that from the Board of Elections, but I don't think it states pretty clearly that only in the case of personal registration are absentee ballots allowed.
So you won't be able to.
I don't believe so. There might be some, I think there are some certain special categories that exist that may require it. If so, we'll take care of mailing out the absentee ballots.
Okay.
The Board of Elections will take care of that. I guess that's it. So what you would need to do is pass that resolution and discuss it, of course.
Somebody want to move the resolution? Moved by Councilman Depot, seconded by Councilwoman Shelton. Under discussion.
Yeah, on the hours.
Yep.
The election, I kind of question that from 10 to 6, where those numbers come up. A lot of times you hear like from noon to 9 at night, so people are working and have time to get there or whatever.
We can change.
6 o'clock isn't a very handy
I was gonna say.
time.
What,
Okay.
it has to be 6 consecutive hours, is that what you said?
Between the
Nancy?
hours of 8 a.m. and 8 p.m., so you can't go to 9, but you can go to 8.
Okay, well, even noon to 8.
Yeah.
that's not-
Can we do noon to 8 a.m.?
Sure.
Or is it, can you?
Let's see.
Or whatever until 8, that's,
Right.
so to give the working man a chance to get there as well.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, 6 is hard for some people at work.
12 p.m. to 8.
Fire districts, everything's done.
It can't go to 9, huh, right?
No.
It has to be.
Let me double check.
I'm just surprised because all your other elections, whether it's fire district
Those
or
are
school or.
those are the hours that were suggested in the, let's see. This is 6, 8. Polls remain open for at least 6 consecutive hours between 8 o'clock in the forenoon and 8 o'clock in the evening, so they can't go beyond 8 o'clock.
Okay.
Let me double check the clock. Yeah. Okay, so we'll change those. B, can you change that on your resolution? It's, I think it's,
Well, so we can change it. 12 to 8, right?
12 p.m. to 8 p.m.
Fourth page.
Okay, got it.
Okay, any further discussion? So we'll note the change on the resolution. You're fine with that, Archie, as the mover? Yes. And you're fine with that as the second? Okay. So at this point, it's, the resolution that stands is at 12 to 8. Any further discussion? Do a roll call vote?
Is there
Councilman Hall?
is there an opportunity for public comment on this, or?
I don't mind if you want to say something. Go ahead.
Okay, well, first of all, I have a question on absentee ballots. When you say they're not required, I mean, what about people who are handicapped and
Yeah, I think that's,
automatically get them every year? They'll be able to vote, right?
I think they are, I think they do, are.
I think they get an automatic ballot, but that's a good question.
For special elections, so that'd be a concern.
Yeah.
Right.
See,
And I think it's a great suggestion to go to 8 p.m. because I was, I saw that, but there are a lot of people who may not be back in town by 6. I guess I would ask about the, I don't know if you had discussion about this prior to today, but why you wouldn't consider the other option Dan mentioned, which would preclude the special election and put it on the November ballot. You know, when I filed, I certainly was not my intent to cause a special election. However, the timing involved, you know, let me and Roz and Ray will help with petitions, you know, no other recourse. So, it seems like rescinding the motion and then passing a new motion to put on the ballot in November would save the trouble of going to a special election and whatever costs are involved. I'm not sure if the cost is more by the county or the town.
It's $2,800, and it could be forwarded from the county to the town.
Okay. So, I mean, I know one of the reasons why you said this at the last meeting, that you had voted to eliminate the town justice position was to save some money on the expense of the second position, I guess, the clerk's job. So, why wouldn't you at least explore the option of going to the November ballot?
Oh, well, I have explored it. I
Yeah.
can tell you the reason why I wouldn't consider that. First of all, the board did their due diligence, trying to look at all aspects of the judge's position, and we felt we did. We had, you spoke about, you know, why wouldn't the public have some impact on this or input? The public did have input. The public came to us and had concerns that we had a judge that was getting paid while he was in Florida. That was the public that we were hearing from.
Right.
To be honest with you, I know when I ran in 2003, I spent $2,000 on my campaign. And I would say in the last 3 weeks of that campaign, I spent probably $1,000. I don't think it's fair to Judge Minot. I don't think it's fair to Rosamond, and I don't think it's fair to Rod Dockham. To make them go through those extra 3 weeks, those last 3 weeks, if there's gonna be, it's gonna be on the ballot, they're campaigning for a job that might not be there. We're only doing what you asked us to do, Fred. You
No.
asked to put it on the ballot, and
That's
you got
fine.
it.
Well,
There was 44 signatures needed. There were some that were thrown out because they were residents of the town of Keene. They ended up with a total of 55 after it was allowed for the August 12th date, which I think should have been done. I agree with
Right,
that.
I will, remember you couldn't, it wasn't clear on.
Right, and I was
so
glad that
filed
was.
on Friday, basically on Dan's advice, it wasn't clear.
But I just, you know, that's my reasoning. I mean, the board has their choice in this matter, but I don't think it's fair to the candidates. I really don't. I don't think, you're asking them to go campaign, are they really gonna, I know when I campaigned, and others on this board, we went door to door, and those last 3 weeks are crucial. So if you're gonna say,
Well, that's a good point, but I mean, so basically, if the referendum is held on the 16th and the resolution passes, which would be to eliminate the position that Justice Minot is currently holding, they will not, the candidates who have already filed for that office for November will not be on the ballot?
they will be on the ballot because the ballots will be pre-printed before that, but it won't mean anything,
So that referendum will render that election.
that decision.
I mean, because one of the concerns I've had with this is that the timing in its entirety. I checked with the Board of Elections, and I guess the town of Jay, I think B as clerk has to file at some point in the year the number of offices that are up for that year. Is that right? I think it was
Yes.
probably done in February. So I just think waiting until July to eliminate the position when that filing happened, I think once before, and the petition process had already begun in June, was kind of late. I mean, that, you know, you've got candidates, certainly you have Roz, and, you know, already out there and expending time and energy. So that was part of my concern with that. I just think, and I also, the thing about Justice McNulty I'd like to ask about is, has he been doing this Florida in the winter thing now for his whole 4 years, or
No.
when did that start?
No, last year was the most
This
time
past
he spent in
winter?
Florida. Yes, he used to go to Florida for a couple, you know, I don't wanna say his vacation time, but I believe he went a couple weeks at a time. Last year it was a larger clip.
Right, 5 months, I think, right, you said?
I don't know that.
Okay, I heard 5 months. But I also heard he comes back on a monthly basis or something like that, is that the case?
There was many nights that court was canceled, and there was notes on the door that court would be canceled. He would call and ask the clerk to put the notice on the door. So there was a long stretch where,
You know, because I understand you heard complaints, and that's great, but I just, you know, it's not something I was aware of, and I don't know how widely known it was, and it seems to me it's as much an administrative problem as it is eliminating the position. You know, you've got a judge who's not here 12 months out of the year, and so if people knew that, there may have been that much more interest in replacing him in November.
people didn't know that, and they did come forward. I'm
Right.
sorry, Fred, that you
Well, I'm
weren't.
saying, I mean, saying, not all of us need that.
Right.
So-
And but, you know, we have business to do, Fred. I mean, the bottom line is, you know, I didn't wanna get into the debate with you tonight, but the
That's fine.
bottom line is, we did our due diligence. We, you know, I went through the dates and times, and, we had, Councilman Depot meet with the two judges. Judge Deal said he could handle the caseload. We looked at our budgets, we looked at other things that we wanna do within the budget. The tax cap is 2%, we've did our due diligence for 9 years, staying at an average of 1 3/4%. Now it's down to 1.66, the percentage point, with, you know, so we've got our work cut out for us. There's things that, that we have to look at. Now, the way I look at it, we were elected to do this job. There's a $2.2 million annual budget, this, with the 3 fire districts included, and we're responsible. We are elected by the people to do our due diligence. We've taken other positions and combined them. We've eliminated part-time positions, we've eliminated clerks, we've added where we thought we needed. We've did away with 10-hour days. We've made administrative decisions where we've eliminated overtime, we've lessened the amount of comp they could carry, we've done insurance policy changes and more on the co-pays, and we've shared costs with the employees and the retirees. And my point is, the public has entrusted us to do these jobs. And you know, I don't wanna get into a political battle here, but the 5 of us, and Councilman Coolidge before us, before Councilman McDonald came on, we do our work. We do due diligence. We do it thoroughly. We spend hours and hours with going over numbers, every line. I don't know if it was done that way before we were all here together. I just know what the time we put into looking at every possible thing. We looked at it. We were having complaints. We were thinking, okay, the reason it was done at the time it was done, we didn't know who was running. We know that Mr. Depot spoke to Mr. Minogue. I had no idea who was interested at that time. I really didn't know who was gonna, there's no personality thing. Like Roz, I don't, it had nothing to do with personalities, it really didn't. And we, you know, our board meetings are on Charter TV. We've, every $16,000 is 1% on the tax levy. You know, when we're looking at half of that right there with one justice position, it's you know, we're looking at a lot of other things. We got a lot of junkyard violations in this town. We're trying to figure things out with the code enforcement officer now, how we can best deal with that, and how the time frame to have this person work. And we make all these decisions after lengthy thought process. You know, it's not something that we just decided, okay, in June we're going to bring this up, in July we're going to vote on it. We weren't trying to hide anything. I believe we were very transparent. We followed everything by the book. We advertised. We put the legal ads in. You know, like I said before, I wish the media would cover our town board meetings. It would certainly help because it would grab the attention. Thank gosh we have them on charter. But it would grab the attention, I think. People are not attending our board meeting, I don't know if they think we're doing a bad job or if they think we're doing a great job and they don't show up. I don't know, I just know that, honestly, Fred, I really think that, I hate to say this, but I think you jumped the gun on this, I really do. I think that you reacted like we weren't being thorough, that we weren't transparent, that we weren't serving the people. Councilman Depot said it best to me the other day, and you know, he said, you know, every time we have to make a tough decision, we can't go out there and get a petition and have 44 people sign it and say that, you know, they want to put it on the ballot. It's just, we're elected to make these tough decisions, and I think we did our due diligence, and I believe we did. You know, it was something that we really prepared for and thought that, you know, we are doing the right thing. We want to look at any possible way to lessen the tax burden, and you know, it certainly helps with the governor coming by and dropping millions of dollars every once in a while. If you could do that on a weekly basis, we'll be fine. But so I guess I don't want to use the word misled, because I know there's people out there that signed the petition that some people will sign a petition because they don't want to tell somebody no. And I don't want to say you misled them, but there's people that now when they've talked to us and they've talked to me the same night, on the night you filed on the 9th, I had one come to me that night saying they were sorry. I said, don't be sorry, it's just, we did do our job. We were trying to be accountable. We weren't hiding anything. We are transparent. I mean, I give this board everything. I share everything, so it's all in writing. I mean, there's nothing hidden from me, and I hope you didn't think that, because I think that part bothers me
Right.
the most, that
Well,
you
I
think that we
didn't
were
think-
trying to hide
I
something.
didn't think that. But I do believe that there's, I strongly believe that 2 judges are preferable to 1, and I think there's a case to be made for keeping 2 judges. I think there's an argument certainly on the other side for eliminating, on the cost savings. I just feel that because it's a public office and it's an important public office, that there should be more public input, and clearly the public is, has the responsibility to come to board meetings, or at least watch them, or inform themselves on it. But I do think that there could have been, more steps taken to inform people about it. So
But
I
even
think there's an
tonight,
opportunity.
even tonight,
Yeah, I appreciate you putting it on the agenda.
we put it out there
That's
tonight,
right.
and we
That's
look who's here. You know what I mean? And so
Right.
I appreciate that.
it's.
Anyway, on the election itself, so is it clear that the actual election will be conducted by the county board of elections, or will the town be conducting?
No, the county board will.
The county board will do it?
Right, Dan, I mean, it's run out of their, we're not gonna hire people.
That's what I wasn't clear from what Dan said, whether the county does it, or whether you actually have to ask the county to do it, or whether the town has the option of doing it himself. That wasn't clear to me. So-
I won't feel comfortable appointing someone, because I don't want anybody to ever think that I would rather the Board of Elections run it.
Right.
I don't know if that's,
The election inspectors and the ballot clerks, they're all,
they're all county employees.
certified by a county, those people will be the ones that handle it.
Yeah, all those inspectors
The
and
town has to
everybody
pay
now
for
are all
this,
county
but-
employees.
The Board of Elections in Essex County will conduct it. They'll help us with ballots, and then, those employees that, the canvassers, whoever does that, I don't know which one, they'll be probably election inspectors. They'll do the counting, the canvassing, that'll all be done right then and there. So it's gonna be the county people.
And if it's a paper ballot, there'll be a paper ballot, and there'll be some kind of box or something for the ballot to go in. Is that how it works?
Yes, yes. It's a ballot, I don't really pay much attention to it. It's perforated, you rip off one part of it, deposit one part, and I don't know what happens to the other part. Board of Elections will know that. And they'll just have the proposition on it, and I'm assuming you just check the box, like you would if, in the old days when, like you would do with an absentee ballot, I'm assuming. But that's, the county board of elections will handle all that.
Be like a fire district ballot, basically.
Yeah,
Just fire district on the bottom is what you're voting, on the top it just says fire district election deal. You
right,
rip it off, and the top part has a number, so
right.
they can keep track. If there's 28 people that voted,
Right.
there should be
There's a
28
number on
ballots
each,
in the bottom.
there's a number on the top and a
Yep.
number on the bottom, yeah. It's been a long time since I did one of those.
The other thing I just wanna clear up too, because people, I know you mentioned administrative, and I don't know where you were going with that, but we have no say in the judge's hours. He doesn't have to, there's been incidents where town supervisors don't show up for work. You can't do anything about it. They can't, the town board can't remove them. I could stop showing up today and they can't do anything to me. It's elected by the people, and there's nothing, I think the governor has the authority, right, to remove
Yeah.
somebody from office, but they've tried that in different towns. One in our area, not in Essex County, but, well, yes, there was one in Essex County, so, not a supervisor, but there was a race, and there was a situation in Ticonderoga a few years back, and there was one in Tupper Lake. And so, I mean, we really have no say. We couldn't say to Judge Minogue, we want you to hold court on Wednesday night, we want you to be there from 5 to 6, we can't do it. The only thing we have control over as this town board is the town justice budget. Just like B, we don't, she's an elected official, tax collector's elected official. I mean, we work very, very well together, and same when Jesse was tax collector. In June before, we worked very well together, but we have no say over them. Thank God we have good people that work together, or it does make.
Makes a problem with Chris, people think that, you can go Chris, we don't have any say over Chris.
No?
Send the
That's the only
assessor.
question. It's-
Yep. Okay,
Wait, just a minute now. Who made the motion? I was listening
Archie.
to somebody.
Archie made the
You
motion.
made it and,
I
Amy,
second.
Amy.
I second.
Second.
okay, 'cause I didn't take
Did you have another question though? I mean, if you do, you can. I don't wanna shut you off.
Right, right,
I know we're gonna debate it and.
Yeah, well, that's great, I look forward to that.
Me too.
You know, I guess, my point about the administrative thing is that, I guess my feeling is that if a public official's not doing his or her job, then it's everybody's right and responsibility to let as many people know that as possible. So I think that, you know, apart from the cost savings and the issue whether there's a workload, whether the workload justifies one or two judges, I do think that, you know, people could have, I mean, if more people had been informed about Judge Noak's situation, then that might have been a reason for others to step forward to, you know, to replace them. So, that's, you know, I'm just saying, that's what I meant by administrative.
But here's the thing. He's elected by the people to do the job. When he was here, he did a great job. As far as I'm concerned, he did a great job. He was very thorough. I think his corrections background helped him through the training process. He got it very quickly, very early. Passed right away the test. But when he was here, he did a great job. I just don't see where it's for us to put it out there that